everyone. Welcome back to RTS and welcome back to another Counterfeit Kit Challenge. Yes, our assignment today is to scrap anything fall related. Fall events, the beauty of fall, the colors of fall, the taste of fall, anything. Because in just a few days, fall begins for a lot of us here in the United States. And so I have a couple photos of something of a little story I want to tell about where we go now for our fall related outdoor decorations and pumpkins and hay bales and things like that. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so of course I have my counterfeit kit here ready to go. And so with my kit I have my papers, and then of course anything that I had scraps from left over, and then my sticker sheets, and then the rest of my papers. And so of course as I start start to finish, I have my formula, my papers, my sketch, my photos. So I am ready to go. Yes, so the sketch I'm going to use today, and I just now noticed it's an 8.5 by 11 vertical sketch, and I don't pay any attention to that. I pay no attention to photo size, nor do I pay any attention to any size, really. No, I've been using sketches for so long, I just look at the background design and go with it. And I had these two photos, these two 4x6, and I thought, oh, this would be a different format on a page. So I want to do something a little different. And that's what I'm going to do. So really, if you look at it, I only need a few pieces of paper, and it wasn't hard because I looked at these. And of course I saw green and wood grain, and I thought, well, yes, that's what I'm going for. And so what I did was I absolutely picked these two sheets of paper here, my green and my wood grain. And it's because I've been matting a lot. I'm in this season in the last, I don't know, year that I've been matting on my background layouts, and you know, the background I've been matting, and then also my photos I've been matting. So I definitely want to work with this and do a thin mat of this green because the green is so dominant in this one photo. And would you believe I already know what my title is going to be? Yes. And then I saw this on top of my kit. This is like my signature piece to show me what the kit is about. And you know, I really like those colors together with that green. So I'm just going to put that there for inspiration. I don't know if I'll use that. Okay. And so of course there's my sketch. There's my papers. I have such a head start. Now in my kit, I only had 2 alphas as far as a dimensional alpha, and I had these wood grain, and they're just not going to work because I'm going to be using this wood grain a lot. So that is scrapped. That's not going to happen. But in my kit, what did I just do with it? Oh, there it is. In my kit, I have these 12 by 12 sticker sheets, and I really thought, well, I thought there was one with that. Yeah, I thought I really could pull in that brown. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll put that on some dimensional foam tape to give it a little bit. It depends. I may bring out my alignment thicker guide because I've been enjoying that lately. So that is the idea. Of course, I have my wax paper here because as I was pulling the paper, I saw a couple other things that I think I want to play with. Okay. So those are my inspirational pieces. Yes. Love how that looks. I tell you what, to make a really pretty page, you do not need a lot. We think we do, but honestly, we don't, do we? And so I thought, well, I would definitely pull out this punch of this picket fence. It kind of reminded me of that. And then I have these 2 ribbons. Of course, I'm holding some stuff here on my lap. I have these 2 ribbons. And this is pumpkins. And I think this one is leaves. Yes. So I'm thinking I'm going to get one of those in for some texture along with this. And of course I have this honkin' maple leaf by McGill. And I really think I'm going to try to get that punch in. I have to move that a little bit because that'll definitely leave a glare. And then of course, you know, my washi. I'm thinking if this doesn't work, I may pull in one of these washies. I kind of like that floral washi. Or I like this right here, this green again. I don't know. So we'll see. We're going to play with washi again. And then, of course, if I don't use these, I have some more texture as far as these ribbons here. So I'm definitely going to play with some ribbon. And that's just kind of what I'm in the mood for. I may go with something like this. It depends on what punches I play with. And then as I was going through things, of course, you know, I have this embellishment kit here. So I have all kinds of fun little bits and bobs. And of course, you know, I saw these pumpkins, and I had said that I wanted to definitely use that in one of my layouts. And so I think I'm going to try this one because, you know, it kind of reminds you of the pumpkin patch and signs and things like that. So as I was pulling some papers, I pulled this out, and I just saw a couple of these. I mean, it took me like 20 seconds. I just pulled a couple of these to give me a little bit of head start as to where I may go in this direction, and also too, just some fun things to play with just to get me started. And sometimes that's what I'll do when I'm working on a layout and I really don't have the energy to scrapbook just yet. I'll come back and I'll just pull papers, and then I'll go do something else, and then I'll pull out some tools, and then we'll look at my photos, and then later on I'll think of a title, and you know, I don't always do everything in one sitting. So that is my plan for this start to finish and my counterfeit kit challenge of the beauty of fall, the colors of fall, just enjoying fall. So that's what we're going to do today, and I will be back with a finished page. We're going to see, can I get this pumpkin in? Can I get this picket fence in? Or maybe I'll use the maple leaf as some cluster bases, or maybe I'll get some texture in. Not sure, but come back because there will be pumpkins aplenty. Okay, come back for a finished page. Okay, I am back with my finished page, and of course it is nothing but fall. Yes, love the colors of fall. Very rich and very fun to play with, because we don't always get to use those colors all year long. So I think that's why it's fun for us to scrap fall colors. Okay, so what did I do? Well, if you look at the sketch, yeah, I deviated from it. I basically went as the format of my photos, and then I ran with it. I made it my own. So what I did was I just took my wood grain and I matted it on my green cardstock. And if I flip this over, you're going to see that is how much I cut out of this green cardstock. And I'll show you what I did with all of that and how much I have left, because I used it because I wanted that color. Okay, so also, when I cut down this wood grain, I had these two strips because, you know, I cut off a ½ inch here and a ½ inch here. So what I did was I took those two strips and I layered them on top of one another, and I put them on the very top of that wood grain. So it gave it a little bit of a topper. And then also too, I used those scraps. So yes, it gave it a little bit of a topper. I like doing that with those leftover strips I cut down. And so then as far as matting my photos, I decided against that this time. I liked how my photos looked on that wood grain, so I just left them as is. Okay, so now, yes, the sketch. The title was supposed to go here, and then my embellishments went here. My sketch, my layout looks totally different from the sketch, but that's the beauty of a sketch. It can just be the starting point, or it can be your guide throughout your whole layout. And so I ended up doing my title on a vertical fashion this time, and then I did a big scene over here, and then I have another cluster here, and that's just the way it worked out. And if you look at my title here, it says no Sunday sales this autumn day. And I wanted to bring that up because this was one of those stickers on the sticker sheets. And so you definitely can use stickers that's already, or any type of embellishments that already has wording on them, and you can include them in your title as subtitles or to further your title. And that's what I did. No Sunday sales this autumn day. Love how that worked out. And of course I have some clusters of some stickers and some leaves up here, stickers and leaves, and then this whole scene here, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Now, to add these little decorative pieces, that was so not in the sketch, but it was just something I wanted to do. I think it's because I wanted to play with some colors. I wanted it to look more home and cozy and fall, and so that's what I did. So what I did is that I just punched out from my papers, if you can see here, I have a pile and a pile and a pile. Okay, so what I did was I just used this is called a Fisker's postage stamp punch, and I just punched out some shapes, and then I ran them through the crimper, which I'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you see this, they are layered. So I have the crimped piece on top of a non-crimped piece, and then I put some twine around it, and then I ran them through, I put some foam tape on them, so that they kind of look like, I don't know if hay bales or quilts or both. I don't know. But it was just something fun I wanted to play with. And I wanted to get some texture in there. And also, too, because my scene got so kind of heavy over here, I wanted to add a little bit more. Because, you know, my background's kind of plain as far as just the wood grain. Okay, so that is what I wanted to do with those little pieces. I just ran them through the crimper. So, now let's talk about, I don't know, we'll talk about the crimping in just a minute. So if you look at my scene, down here. What I did was I took that other punch that I had in my kit, which was this Picket Fence. It's by Martha Stewart punch, and I punched it 4 times. And I used that green that was what I cut out of the back mat. And so what I did was I layered 2. I put 2 on top of each other and 2 on top of each other, and then I took those 2 pieces and I doubled that again. So I took 2 pieces, and then doubled that, and then that gave me more dimension as far as feeling like a fence. Because if you look at this picket fence really isn't a very big picket fence. It's kind of small, but I doubled it. And so I'll have a video link below of DIY chipboard, and that's really kind of what I did, is that I just took layers of cardstock to give me a chipboard feel and weight. And then of course I got that pumpkin stick on there, so I had to cut some of that stick off. And then how I got it behind that is I just put some foam tape behind that chipboard. So that's a little lump and bump there, but it's okay because I have a piece of Flair, and then I have these quilt pieces on top of some foam tape, so it all gave some dimension. Okay, and of course all my elements I used were just from those sticker sheets. I mean, honestly, that's what I did. I put some on foam, some I didn't. Love how it turned out, because I just really wanted the colors represented and the things that you would see, you know, at a fruit stand or a pumpkin patch, that type of thing. So now let's talk about colors. And so you see I have some red here, and I wanted to get some red here. Well, I really thought, okay, well, what am I going to do? I didn't want to cut into a piece of 12 by 12 paper. And so I had said this in the beginning when I had made my kit. I made sure I got some colors of my theme of my kit represented in washi. So what I did is that I took this red washi, and I think I did about four strips of washi just on some white cardstock, and then I punched them out with that maple leaf punch I had. And so there I have, because I didn't want to cut up into a 12 by 12 piece of paper just yet, and I also didn't have any embellishments of this red that I wanted. So I definitely could have used that as cluster bases. So if you don't have the color of paper represented in your kit, or you don't have the embellishments, don't forget to put that washi, put it on some cardstock, cut it with your trimmer for strips, layers, or you can actually use some punches. Now, some of these smaller punches may not be as easy to use, but that maple punch, well, here it is. That's a heavy-duty punch, so no problem punching that out, okay? And so then I'll just put these in my kit, and I have them for the next time. Because actually I was planning on put that up there, but it was a little too big of a scale. Okay, so my journaling will go up here. And of course I added some wood grain enamel dots. And now you want to see what makes up a wood grain enamel dot. Okay, and when I realized this years ago, I was like, oh, how do they make wood grain enamel dots? So, and what a wood grain enamel dot is, of course, here's what they look like. But a wood grain enamel dot is just a piece of actual wood grain with a clear epoxy bubble on top. So right there, because I had one come apart. And so that is a wood grain washi, just some wood grain paper with a epoxy bubble. So really you can make your own, take some little pieces of punch circles of wood grain and add some glossy accents on top, and you can make your own wood grain enamel dots if you so wish to. Okay, so I wanted to show that because I had one fall apart, and I remember the day when I thought, oh, that's how they made a wood grain enamel dot. I didn't know that. Yes. Okay, so what else do I have? Okay, so you know I told you that I cut out the back of this green mat. Okay, now with that, sometimes you have to pay attention. That means that your layout is not going to be as stable or as strong as you want. So there's nothing wrong. And this is exactly what I'll do when I'm done here. Is I'm going to take this 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I will just adhere that to the back of that, and that'll help keep everything stable. Okay, and so you can use leftover scraps, you can use 8.5 by 11 cardstock. You know, we all have some of that left over in our stash, might as well use it. Okay, so with that green, this is what I have left over, but if you can see, I used that green not only for my thin mat, but I used it for some leaves, and then also used it for 4 of those fence punch shapes. Yes, so one piece of paper did all of that, and then I have this left over, which I will keep in my kit and use that later on, and that's good for cluster bases, absolutely. Because look, I have this beautiful pumpkin I wanted to use. Put that right underneath on that fence. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, you can use about any type of thing for cluster bases. Just make them bigger. There you go. Love how that looks. Okay, so what do we have next? The crimper. Let's talk about the crimper for a minute. because, you know, I said that was an old school tool I wanted to put in this kit. So I wanted to show another use for crimping, because you see on here of my little mini quilts or hay bales or whatever you want to call them, I have a crimped piece on top of a non-crimped piece. And then, of course, it just adds some texture and everything. So, of course, you know, when you take a piece of paper and you run it through your crimper, okay, let's just say we just have some white cardstock here, okay? So, you know, you would take that and you run it through your crimper, and this is what you're going to get, right? You're going to get that crimped look, okay? And so, and what I did was I punched that and then I ran it through my crimper. I think it works better that way. Okay, and so then there's the crimped pieces. But if you take your crimped piece and you put it in, of course, this is what it looks like when it came out, okay? But if you take that piece and you put it in the opposite of the way the crimp showed, okay, and do it slow and hold that bar as heavy as you can. I think I'm losing a little bit of pressure on my wheels. I can tell on my crimper. What you get, and I'll pull this a little closer, is that you get a waffle look, like a basket weave look, if you take your crimped piece and put them in the opposite direction. And I made this a little bit bigger. You can see this is what happens. You get like a waffle knit, baby blanket waffle knit look. That's what you get when you run that crimped piece in the opposite direction. So this is how it came out. You would feed it through this way. Okay, and that's what you get. You get that waffle look, okay? So I wanted to show that as another part of your crimper. That is another tool you can use. Yes, and you can use it in a different manner and get a different result. Love that. This is really good. Let's see if it shows up. This is really good to use this on baby pages. This basket weave waffle knit is what they call it. So, okay, so I think that is it. I just had to add my journaling here when I'm done, and it's going to go right up there. And of course, I took that postage stamp and I ran the edge of my journaling through that, and then I got another little decorative element because I have here and here. I wanted to add it up there with my journaling. Okay, so I think that's all I have for this counterfeit kit challenge and celebrating the colors and beauty of fall. And I'm going to try to get in another bonus challenge with this kit before the end of September, so come back for that. And come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye!